Thank you, Attorney General. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Did you think
sorry.
Did you think it might be filed elsewhere? Was that, you said we're glad to have it in Vermont? Is that a possibility? And would that have, was this vote better somehow?
Oh, well, it's obviously more convenient for us, and as they reflect in the complaint, that the parties are largely here, the plant is here. We're talking about Vermont law, but it's entirely possible that it could have been filed in another court. This is certainly convenient for us.
What about the constitutional issues that Entergy raised this morning, Bill? Are those really secondary to the issue of the state law, or do you worry about that aspect of the argument?
Well, anytime a constitutional violation is alleged, that's hugely important, and Vermont law cannot violate the federal Constitution. So we were mindful of the federal Constitution and the state Constitution when the legislature adopted the law. There's certainly a presumed constitutionality there, and so no, we need to defend the constitutional claims also, for sure.
Is that part of it? Is that a primary argument that they're making, or is that really secondary?
I'd leave it to them to define the strengths or weaknesses of their particular arguments, in which they say are primary and which are secondary. I'll say this: there's virtually nothing in this complaint that surprises us. They've thrown everything but the kitchen sink in here, and we're going to defend on all bases.
What about this assertion that state officials have made threatening comments that they wouldn't get the CPG unless they agreed to provide below market rate power to Vermont utilities?
Let them prove that in court.
Governor, they're claiming that we changed the rules on them, that in 2002 they agreed to come in and seek permission from the Public Service Board. Subsequently, we said we put the legislature there. Do you see it that way, that we've added a different layer of political decision-making here?
You know, I want to remind you that I wasn't here at the time, so let's put it in their words, if we could. Let's let them ask the question. In a 5/21/2006 Rutland Herald article, Douglas signs bill giving lawmakers say on nuke's future. It reads as follows, quote, Vermont Yankee spokesman Robert Williams said officials of the plant liked the law, in part because it sets up a process that isn't overly complicated. Quote, we commend the legislature, especially the House Natural Resources and Energy Committee, for putting a lot of effort into drafting a bill that would serve the state well, he said. They recognize the importance of fully addressing the question of Vermont's future energy supplies. So I think Rob Williams answered the question in that press clip. There are many others like it. I mean, the point of the matter is that Entergy Louisiana, as I have said before, does not do business the way we do business in Vermont. We keep our word. We tell the truth. We follow the laws of the state. Entergy has struggled to do that. How can you complain about a law in federal court that you supported when it passed and was signed by Governor James Douglas? It just puzzles me.
The question is, are they trying to have it both ways? They came to the state wanting to make agreements to buy the plant initially and then to be able to store their spent fuels. And that's leads to the conclusion, or at least the observation, that they're trying to have it both ways. They made the agreements when it was to their advantage to make the agreements so they could buy the plant and operate, and now they're saying, whoops, 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 not a good deal for us, illegal, never should have done it, state can't enforce it. So we'll see.
Governor, how, as the top elected official in the state of Vermont, how do you feel being in this situation with Entergy Louisiana?
Well, I mean, obviously, we would prefer if companies doing business in Vermont would follow the law, particularly when they supported the laws as they were signed into law that they now claim or wish they hadn't. So, you know, long and short of it is, you know, as governor, I've got to be prepared for any development. This one doesn't come as an extraordinary surprise from a company like Entergy Louisiana. that we have an extraordinarily capable Attorney General and a team of lawyers to defend Vermont, and I'm sure that the judges will see to it that Vermont law is upheld.
Is it inevitable the plant's going to stay open beyond March 2012 because of this litigation and what it may lead to?
Absolutely not. I believe that the plant will be closed in March 2012, as Vermont law has directed, and the company will abide by that law.
Bill, didn't you just indicate otherwise, that you would expect this lawsuit to go, you would expect them to try for?
I expect the lawsuit to potentially go on for a long time. That is not at all inconsistent with what the governor has just said. We're going to fight very hard to have the plant stop operations in late March of next year. And we hope to have a decision from the U.S. District Court that's favorable to us against the requested injunctive relief by Entergy, and that during what might be a lengthy appeals process, that the plant would remain closed.
Isn't there the possibility, though, that it could stay open for years on end if there isn't a decision by the district court? I mean, how would you close it? Would you send National Guard troops in or something?
It is entirely possible that if they prevail at the district court level, or on the injunctive relief issue, or on other issues on the merits, or as a result of a decision by the Intermediate Appeals Court, that they could stay open. We're going to fight very hard to have that not be the case. But that's going to be a decision for the federal judiciary to make.
Is there any room to negotiate here? They talk about that they were in negotiations, particularly on the decommissioning question, that they agreed to accelerate the period of safe storage, but that those talks broke down and they have to file suit. But is there any room to go back to the negotiations and try and resolve this without a court vote?
You know, we are where we are. I mean, I just want to point out that we have not been in negotiations with Entergy Louisiana at any time, in any shape or any form. The negotiations that happened were under Vermont law, where Entergy Louisiana and the power companies, Vermont Power and CV, were supposed to negotiate a purchase price agreement, PPA, and come to the legislature with that PPA. I think it's significant that Vermont Power and CV tried valiantly to come to an agreement with Entergy Louisiana and couldn't, and were quite frustrated by the fact that they couldn't. So, you know, again, Entergy's claims don't seem to match up with the facts.
Didn't you meet, though, with Entergy on March 30th or 31st?
Sure.
What was that meeting about?
They requested a meeting with me, and I accepted, as I would with almost anyone that's producing power in Vermont, or anyone, I should say. And at that meeting, they basically indicated that they wouldn't be suing the state, that they would be instead just continuing to operate the plant after 2012. Obviously, they've changed their mind.
What do you think this is a battle over states' rights?
No, I don't think it is. I think this is an example of a company that doesn't want to follow the laws and is trying desperately to avoid the laws. And I just don't think that's a very prudent legal course, and it's not a very good business course. You know, when they said that they were just going to run the plant without a certificate of public good from the Public Service Board, the general belief that they were going to do that, or Wayne Leonard made reference to it, and this called the stockholders recently. My reaction was, you know, I don't know how a company that does business in lots of states can just run a plant, break the law, and have the confidence either on Wall Street or in the other states that this company would do the same thing in those states. Well, if I were in those states right now, I'd be asking this question. Do I want a company running in my states who agrees to follow the law, supports the law that gets signed into law by the governor, and then wants to break that law? So, you know, as I mentioned before, Entergy Louisiana doesn't do business the way we do business in Vermont.